to send you a special PDF in your email that'll help kind of wrap up everything we're doing. And it's kind of a planning system you can use in order to apply everything that I share with you today in this presentation. So welcome to the Super Fantastic Exchange Masterclass series, Lynn. I'm so glad that you have joined. Let me get my thing going there. All right, so we're going to talk about race to your goals, and I really believe that when you get to your goals, you can use this for for work, for family, and everything in your life. Because I truly believe when you set a system of goals and you have a system to help support your goals along the way, that you'll be a lot more successful with getting to these goals. So I want to share my experiences and my perspective with that. So, hey, you know me, I'm Gary. I consider myself a transformational leadership coach. I truly love creating transformational opportunities because we've got so many transactional people out there, transactional managers, that I really want to create a world in which we're all transformational. And I believe you can create your super fantastic because everybody's got something super inside them, a gift, a talent, or a skill that when they develop it, they can create a fantastic environment, circumstance around them. So I truly believe that, and that is my mission, to help other people. So today, let's talk about racing to your goals. And I want to give you my perspective. For several years, I was a sponsored triathlete. And what that means is I got paid to go race, to go swim, bike, and run. That is a triathlon in that order. So I did that for several years. It was just a fabulous opportunity. It wasn't easy, but I just loved that opportunity to go push myself beyond what I ever thought I could do. And so for me, a perspective of life as a triathlete is we had to execute on our training plans each and every day. And as I was going through that, and I was, making my plans, executing on my plans, kind of figuring it out as I went. And then, with all my alignments and everything that I had to do, I figured out, everything that I was doing as a triathlete translated very well into the professional world, and also translated into my personal life as well, because, I had to set my sights on accomplishing a goal, and then I had to work my way to it. I had to have a certain system in place to get to where I wanted to go. And so, just like in this picture, I completed an Ironman in Louisville, Kentucky, which is over 140 miles of swimming, biking, and running. It was one of my ultimate goals, and through the system that I had created along the way, I was able to accomplish that. And so I truly believe that, racing to your goals is a great way to translate into your work and personal life. So here's where I'm at. A lot of us make goals, right? We kind of thinking in our head, New Year's comes around and we're like, oh man, I have a resolution. I have a goal. There's something that I want to do. And some of us may even put it on paper, right? We're like, oh, I'm thinking about this goal. I'm thinking I want to accomplish X, Y, or Z. I'm going to write it down. And that's exciting. But what is it worth? Your goal is only worth the paper that it's written on. And if you crumble up that paper and throw it away, it's gone. Now, if you really want to successfully accomplish your goals, you have to have a plan. You have to execute on that plan to make it worthwhile. Otherwise, you just end up with a paper collection. So I want to talk about today with you the race objective. How are you going to get to your goals? And so I've got 5 objectives for today's conversation. One is you're going to start your plan. How do you start your plan with your goals? And then we're going to race to our goals. You're going to recognize what it means to have those goals, your alignments to get to your, to help you along the way, how to concentrate on your goals, and then ultimately executing on those goals. So we're going to talk about start your race, which I just absolutely love. So one of the things that I always did when as a sponsored triathlete was I would start with the end in mind. And ultimately, when the racing season started, I had to figure out what was my priority race going to be for that year. Okay, what was my goal going to be? So I started with that finish line first. Okay, if it was the Ironman in August, then I had to do a lot of training to get to that point. And so I always identified my main goal for that year and then worked backwards. So what was it going to take? How was the timing going to work out in order for me to get to that ultimate goal? So it was always about starting with the end in mind and working backwards. And then along the way, what I did when I knew I had that main race, and we'll just use the Ironman as an example, I had to identify, what helped me was I would also find a couple of supporting races along the way before that Ironman race, 140 miles of moving forward, to help me get to my ultimate goal. So if I wanted to get to the Ironman, then maybe I selected a half Ironman halfway through my training season to help support getting to that goal. But I had to work backwards and figure out what was going to make best sense for me to get to that ultimate goal. So just when you can apply that if you're thinking about any particular goal that you have in mind, figure out what that goal is and then work backwards. How will you get to it? Almost like reverse engineering that approach to that goal. And so you may ask, how is this applying to me? So here's what I'm suggesting to you when you start with the end in mind. So if you've got a main goal that you want to accomplish, pick that main goal, okay? And then start working backwards and figure out what are a couple of additional goals that you can add to your main goal that will support that main goal. And just like racing, if I had that Ironman as my main goal, I would select 2 or 3 additional races in my training season that would help support me get to that goal. Each race was very important in of itself, but ultimately I used those additional races to get to that one. And then one of the other things that I worked on was I had to determine my effort level. In everything that I did in my training plan, how much effort was I willing to give to this goal? And that was a conversation that I had to have with myself before I even started the training season. So if I wanted to get to the Ironman, I had to determine, okay, up front, am I going to give this 100%? Am I going to give this 50%? What is my effort level that I'm going to give to this so that I can get to my ultimate goal? And that was just a conversation to help set up that path along the way. All right. So recognizing that, you've got a goal, you got to recognize, why are you doing this? One of the things I had to have a conversation with myself is, why am I wanting to do an Ironman race? I mean, that is a lot of effort just to do a race. So why are you wanting to do this? And, that is one of the big things that you want to kind of consider and think about when you select your goal. Why are you doing this? And that why will help you along the way. And so you got to recognize what your why is. Another thing that I want you to consider when you have a goal is understand that goals are a marathon. It's not a sprint. And so, if you have a goal that is some far distance in the future, you're going to work to it. Now, you may have some good months, you may have some bad months, but understand it's a marathon. You can't mess up an entire goal in 1 month, but you can make it more difficult to get to it. So just like swimming, biking, and running in a triathlon, you cannot win a triathlon by being the best swimmer. But if your swimming is terrible, then you sure can make it more difficult to, make up time on the bike and the run ultimately. So as you're going through it, understand, hey, there's going to be some hiccups. You're going to have some rough months. You're going to have some good months. But as you understand your why and you keep that why in your back pocket, then you can kind of overcome. If you have a bad swim or if you have a bad month with regards to, getting to your goal, it's okay. You may have to make up some time. You may have to make up some effort, but that is the approach. If you recognize the why, you understand that it's a marathon, not a sprint, it makes it easier to continuously put in effort towards your goal. So how do you apply that to you? How do you recognize? So what I want you to do is always identify, why are you wanting to achieve your goal? Goals are fantastic, and we all, can come up with some real super goals out there. But if you create that why and understand why you're doing it, it helps support that goal. And then ultimately, what is your timeline? Do you want to do this in a month? Do you want to do this in a year? What's your timeline to get to that goal? And, just like in the racing season, if, the racing season starts or the training season starts in the winter to get to a summer race. And so I would always know my timeline, and that would help me work backwards to reverse engineer how I was going to get to that ultimate race. And then even this, you want to determine your effort level. If you have something that, you're planning out, you're ready to go, what is the effort? What is the excitement that you're going to put into it when things come up? When you have an obstacle, when you hit a bump in the road, are you going to hang on to that why? Hey, I want to do this Ironman because if it is that important to you, that why will help you through those difficult obstacles, and you will be less likely to give up your goal. So have that why, recognize how important it is, and then understand that timeline. And when you really look at it's not a sprint, it's a marathon, you pace yourself a lot better as you go through achieving your goals. Now, the next step is alignments. Now, a lot of us think that a triathlon or business is a solo sport, but it's not. It's truly a team sport. When I was running marathons, doing triathlons, it is an individual sport. I'm responsible for me to get myself to the starting line, to the finish line. But to get to the starting line, it was a team effort. I had alignments that helped me, encouraged me to get to where I wanted to go. These people held me accountable for my effort levels, for, helping me say, hey, Gary, you're kind of missing the mark on this, or if you, worked on this technical aspect, or, hey, I noticed you kind of look like you were struggling mentally as you were running this race, next time I want you to think of this. So the alignments are absolutely so important to helping you get through and push through those difficult moments as you're getting to your goal. So if you create a professional goal, or if you create a personal goal, identify alignments that'll help you. Share your goal with them and say, hey, I want you to be my accountability partner. I want you to be in my alignment to help me achieve my goal. You'll be surprised how people will be encouraged and say, yes, I will be your alignment. It's an honor to be somebody's alignment or their accountability partner. And if you find that right person that will give you that feedback, give you that constructive criticism so that you can get better. And if you remove your spirit of offense, all that feedback, all that's going to do is help you get to your goal. So how do you apply this to you? What I want you to do is make a list of the people around you that will help you get to your goal. Share your goals with them so that they know what you're working on. And of course, when you think things, when you speak things, and then act on things, it makes it a lot easier to get to the goal. And then of course, again, you want to determine your effort level. Are you going to work with your alignments? Are you going to trust your alignments? Are you going to give them the grace to give you feedback? And you want to determine how much effort you're going to spend connecting with them, how much effort they're going to spend connecting with you as well. So your alignments, even though you think what you're doing is a solo sport, it is always a team sport. You can, if you can do things well alone, but if you want to do things better, get a team, get your alignments to help you support your way through your goals. The next thing, you want to concentrate. Now, there's so much to learn as you set a goal. When I was determined to do an Ironman race, I realized there was so much to learn. I had done other shorter races, but doing an Ironman is different. There's so much more. There's different aspects to the race, not only technical with your equipment and your nutrition, but there's also the mental aspect of doing an Ironman race, because you can be the best athlete in the world. Your body can be like ready to do this endurance sport. But if you're mentally not ready, you can shut your own self down mentally, even though your body can do it. mentally, your mind can shut you down saying, hey, you start this negative self-talk as you're going through this race. You're in this swim going, oh my God, I'm so tired. Or you're on that bike and you're like, man, I can't pedal up another hill, I'm done. But your body can do it. And trust me, I've had that talk going through those long runs. I'm thinking to myself, why am I putting myself through this? Why am I doing this? I'm just one foot after another in the hot summer sun, sweating, and just, my body can do this, but my mind is like really, negative self-talk. But if you start working through understanding, there's physical things that you can do, there's mental things that you can do, and that'll help you get through that. And you have to concentrate on that information to help you get through those tough times, because it's so important. The mental aspect of racing, the mental aspect of setting and achieving goals is so critical, because it will definitely determine the outcome. Because trust me, I've set some goals before, whether it's racing or whether it is a goal that I want to do personally or professionally, that I've totally messed myself up because mentally I recognize that I lost it. And so when you recognize the mental, the technical aspect of any parts of your goal, it makes a huge difference. So how do you apply that to you? How do you concentrate on your goals? Well, you want to investigate how you need to get to your goal. Okay. What is it that you need? Like in an Ironman race, I needed nutrition. So we had like these, we call them goo, these little nutrition packets that we use to help us as, we were running and swimming and biking. I needed different types of shoes, different socks. I mean, these were gears, things that I needed to help me get to my goal. And the same thing with a professional goal. If your goal is to, let's say, write a book, what do you need along the way to help you write that book? Or if your goal is to get promoted, to the next level, what are the things that you need to do? What are the things you need to learn or participate in? So you need to investigate all of that. How are you going to get to that goal? What equipment do you need? Is it a matter of you attending webinars, master classes, or shadowing somebody to get to your goal? You got to start thinking through that as you're reverse engineering these things, and then prepare your mind, because the mental aspect of it all is tough, man. It's tough to get to your goal. And so if you initially say, hey, listen, this isn't going to be easy, and you recognize the difficulty of you achieving your goal, and you concentrate on focusing on that goal and how you will get to it, it certainly makes a big difference. And then, of course, your effort level. How much effort are you going to put into this? Everything that you do is determined by your effort level. Nobody can, determine your effort level except you. So if you want to put 100% into it, that's your choice, and that's your decision to do so. If you want to do 50%, that's also your choice and decision to do. But understand, whatever your effort level is, that's going to be your outcome. If you give it 50%, you're going to get 50%. If you give it 100%, you'll get 100% out of it. And then finally, execute. Okay. On our race plan, we want to execute. So what I always did as a sponsored triathlete was I trained like I was going to race, and then I raced like I trained. So when we trained for a race, we would figure out, okay, what's my pace going to be? How fast am I going to run? How fast am I going to swim? Or how fast am I going to bike? What's the cadence of my turnover? What's my intensity of my effort when I'm out there on the race course? And that's how I would train. So I would build up to what I needed to do. And the same thing with, when you get to the starting line of your goal, what is, how am I going to pace myself to get to my goal? Does that mean I need to learn some different tools, different, knowledge base, different skills to get to where I want to go? If I want to write a book, then I need to figure out, okay, I need to write daily. It may not be great at first, but if I keep writing, get my feedback from my alignments, concentrate, understanding that there's going to be some rough days, but my effort level is going to determine my output, then it makes a huge difference. But you keep moving along like you have already, you're already there. So if you practice, if you train yourself like you're already there, then it makes it so much easier when you get there. So the way you live, the way you train, the way you educate yourself is you want to act like you're already there. And that's how you train like you race and race like you train. And then when you get there, when you get to your goal, it makes it so much easier because you've been practicing, you've kind of created that muscle memory. So when you're at your goal, when you're at your race, hey, I've done this so many times. I kind of know how to work through it. When you get there, it's just so much easier. It's so much easier. So how does that apply to you? Initiate your plan. You've worked so hard to create a plan. You've got your alignments. You've been concentrating on how you're going to get there. And you just take it one step at a time. And trust me, the first time I started running, I went outside. It was 10 minutes in the hot summer sun in Corpus Christi. Humidity was probably 120%. And I was outside for 10 minutes and I thought I was going to die. But you know what? It took a step at a time. And ultimately, that first time I ran around the block in Corpus Christi sent me to an Ironman race in Louisville, Kentucky, 140 plus miles of swimming, biking, and running. But it took a step at a time. It was a process. And then you evaluate your progress along the way. That's how you execute on your goal. If you're not doing great, that's okay. You just keep kind of working on it. You adjust as needed, but you keep racing to that finish line. You always know what that finish line is because you've set that goal. But if your execution is kind of meandering about, you just kind of reevaluate it, adjust it, but you're still racing to that finish line. You always want to go to your finish line. And then, of course, we keep talking about determining your effort level. It's always up to you. Your execution on what you want to do on your goal is always your choice and your action. Your effort level, if you give it 100%, you're going to get 100%. So always determine your effort level. So one of the most incredible things that I learned along the way as I was racing was it's not about the finish line. It may not be about the goal. The goal is important. The finish line is important, but it's the journey along the way that matters the most. The people that you connect with, the things and the skills that you learn along the way, and the lessons you learned are so important. Those to me were the most incredible things of racing. Getting to the finish line of an Ironman, absolutely amazing. But all the things that I had to do, that I chose to do along the way, the skills that I learned, the people that I met, and the effort levels that I pushed myself, that was the most incredible part of getting to the finish line, was the actual journey. So you can race to your finish line by starting with the end in mind. You want to race to it. You recognize what you want to do. You set yourself up with the right alignments, concentrate on doing it, and then executing. You train like you race and race like you train, and that will get you to the finish line and help you race to your goals. So the last thing is, once you get to your goals, great, congratulations. But you know what? You're going to have all these medals. You're going to have all these accomplished goals. But one thing I want you to remember is when you get to your goal, the most incredible thing you can do is help other people get to their goals. That is a true racing champion, is helping other people get to their goals, because you're going to get a lot of medals hanging on the wall, but how important are they unless you help other people get their own medals, help them get to their goals? So that is one thing I want to add to, understanding and recognizing as you're getting to your goals. Help other people get to their goals, help them get to their finish lines. So thank you so much for joining me today, guys. You can find me online. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. And if you ever have any questions, please feel free to connect with me. I am available. My email address, I have my website, and my phone number is right here. So thank you so much for joining me today for Race to Your Goals. I appreciate you. And you guys, and hey, don't forget, I'm going to email you, because you joined me today, a form where you can help race to your goals. It'll help you kind of set everything out so you can put it on paper, and it's going to help you execute and really get a mental aspect of what it takes to get to the goals that you're deciding you want to do. So thank you again, and have a wonderful day. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll see you.
Bye.